Hey, this is Mark A. Altman.
And this is Darren Doctorman.
And this is Ashley Miller.
And we, as usual, are the Inglorious
Treksperts.
And tonight we're trekking ingloriously. We have a wonderful guest joining us in a little bit, and it's Bunny Tails from Bunny Tail Reacts. She'll be talking about her journey discovering Star Trek. April is just terrific insights into being a younger fan and somebody who has discovered the joy of Trek. And much like our friends Josh and Alex from last week's target audience, it's a great perspective on what the new generation thinks of the original Star Trek and how they've watched those shows evolve. And a big thank you to Darren for letting us know about Bunny Tails and bringing her to the show and facilitating this so that we could feature her. I think she's going to be a wonderful guest.
Yeah, I'm so glad we could get her to come on because I've watched her for maybe a year and so, something like that. And you know, I think I told you guys before, I've been watching many such reaction people on YouTube, and I find it really interesting, sort of exploring the stuff that we grew up with again with fresh eyes, and it's really fun. I mean,
if you could see the things I saw with your eyes,
it's second only to it's second only to me watching the episodes with my stepson Jared. It is sort of the same feeling of seeing someone who hasn't experienced this before react the same way that I did when I was first seeing it.
Yeah, no, it's delightful, and we're looking forward to having her join us. But before we get to Bunny Tails, I wonder if we could have it'd be like seeing the White Rabbit. No one will believe us.
That's
and
right.
Then a little blonde girl will be chasing Bunny Tails into the podcast. So and a little Gerald Fried music to go along with it. A couple of housekeeping matters. First of all, the reaction to our last two episodes prior to target audience, The Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before, really great. People really seem to love it. They said it's classic Treksperts. So
we're going back to form.
That's and right. I was remiss in not thanking Ted Linhart last time, who provided these scripts from his vast collection. So big thank you to Ted, and you can find out about his musings on the television industry on Substack on Ted on TV. I don't know what Substack is. I don't know how it works, but if you do, go and watch Ted on TV. I'm sure it's great.
The stack right below the main stack.
Yeah, there's a stack, and then there's a stack right under.
It's like Captain Kirk. It's a stack of books on legs.
That's right.
I don't know, but it's on Substack.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
And it's Ted on TV, and you should check it out. Ted is great, and we have some other special treats coming thanks to Ted's largesse.
Ted is great. Ted is good. Let us thank him for those scripts.
There you go.
Amen.
Yeah, okay. Also, a couple of you have been saying that thank you for the Discord link, but it doesn't work. So we've updated the Discord link in the show notes as well as on our link tree. So that's linktr.ee at Treksperts /Treksperts Plus. So go to the Treksperts Plus Inglorious Treksperts link tree that has all our social channels, including the Discord, but Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, X, Twitter, Friendster, MySpace, they're all on there.
It's like the big tree of Avatar. It links you to all of our lives.
Yeah. It's like the big, well, not all of our, just our Treksperts lives. Not all of our lives.
Not Treksperts Live, which is a different thing.
Don't try being my friend in real life. I'm not interested. I just want to be your Trekspert friend.
Right. Darren and I have tried, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Because we don't talk off the show. I have nothing to do with these gentlemen.
That's right.
Okay. No, it's not true. Darren gives great birthday presents, so I have to stay friends with him. So, okay. So one of the things we've been doing is doing the 60th anniversary letters, and they're just piling up, and sometimes I forget to read them, and it's just so I apologize for that. So before we get to the letter, I want to say please, I guess ticket sales are brisk at Star Trek Las Vegas. Hotel sales are even brisker. So if you're planning on joining us at the Trekspert stage in August, you want to get your tickets and your hotel room now, you can go to creationent.com for more information. We got lots of great things planned, lots of great stuff. And we just learned that Bunny Tails is going to be joining us. So if you like her on the show, she's going to be making a special appearance as well. So
barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Hop to it.
Oh,
so,
see, I see what you did there.
See, if we were doing an Easter show, she would have been the right person.
My paws and whiskers. I'll be late.
Also, of course, we'll be in GalaxyCon Richmond in March. We'll be doing some more exciting panels. They got some great Trek guests. I think Terry Farrell will be there, Nana Visitor, the great mighty Bill Shatner. And then also their first Strange New Worlds guests will be there. Looks like Ethan Peck and Jess Bush and someone else will all be there. And and we'll be on the scene to cover it. So that'll be interesting.
We'll be there.
Yeah. And then last but not least, I know that recently a lot of people have been asking what we thought of Starfleet Academy. We're not going to talk about it because at some point we might, but we're not going to really talk about it because we want more people to have the opportunity to see it before we share our opinions. I will say this, that I was very disquieted by the Rufus Wainwright cover of San Francisco, the great Scott McKenzie song. I just hate needle drops in Star Trek. It's like when Discovery had the Wycliffe Jean song, which was the Bee Gees Stayin' Alive remix, and I hated that. And quite honestly, in First Contact, the fact that Cromwell was bebopping along to the state-of-the-art music, Steppenwolf's Magic Carpet Ride, Star Trek has not done well with the musical cues. Of course, this is coming from a guy who put She Blinded Me with Science in his show in Pandora, but I thought that it worked well for the scene it was in. Okay, so...
Hypocrisy, thy name is Altman.
I love needle drops.
Good heavens, Miss Sakamoto, you're beautiful.
I just can't.
Damn, Miss Sakamoto.
It made me crazy when San Francisco came on and it was a cover. Because I love that song. And especially given the connection of Starfleet Academy theoretically to the 60s, you would think they would go with the 60s version, which was a big song back then, the Scott McKenzie.
They probably couldn't afford it.
Well, I'm sure they could.
$10 million
if they could
an
afford
episode.
Rufus Wainwright to record a new cover, they could have afforded Scott McKenzie. It's not like it was Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or something. So, or even Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So
I'm sure they have.
That's all I'm going to
reasons.
say about Starfleet Academy. You guys want to say anything about Starfleet Academy?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
It's definitely one of the shows ever made.
That's right.
Listen,
I have seen it.
But we don't want to talk about it.
Nope.
well, we're not going to talk about it because
We're not
This
talking
is
about it right now.
We
now,
are
exactly,
absolutely-
because we're all about
There's no- we're not saying
celebrating the love.
anything.
And speaking
no
of
words.
celebrating the love, let's talk about Andrew Reidner.
I'm not in
Andrew
love with Andrew
Reidner's
Reidner.
letter. Now, I have to admit, he also had a bunch to say about 4:30 movie, but I'm not going to acknowledge the 4:30
Don't cross
movie
the
stuff,
streams.
Oh,
because
man.
I don't want to cross the streams. But he did put together a list on Letterboxd of a bunch of our 4:30 movie statistics. What is his name? Steve Melching? And it's wonderful, and I actually got to appreciate it. I thought that was very kind. He put together the top years of all our picks from all our shows. Top directors: Steven Spielberg, 12 films; Woody Allen, 9 films. Yes.
And is the
Coen's
most picked
8
movie
films.
Cloak and Dagger?
Top studios: Warner Brothers at 69 films, Paramount 54. Anyway, see, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but
you
we're
did.
talking about it. Okay, let me read this lovely letter from
Okay.
Andrew. Andrew, greetings, Treksperts. I hope the new year is treating each of you well. It was a busy holiday season for myself, but I've finally been able to get back on my usual Treksperts routine, and hopefully this email isn't too late to the party. Now, we'll be reading them all year, so at least 52 letters for 52 episodes. I first started listening around the time of the John Gill Memorial Studio after hearing about the show through Best Movies Never Made, our formerly sister podcast. I was skeptical because, probably like other fans of the show, I tried other Trek-adjacent podcasts in the past, but I don't have a particular interest in episode recaps or rehashing the same old conversations. I'm thankful for the show for not only proving that I knew next to nothing about these shows I love when I first started listening and fixing that, but for deepening my appreciation for their existence. So thanks for all the effort you guys put into these podcasts and panels. My trek with Trek started when I was around 8 or 9 years old. My parents were divorced, and I'd see my dad every 2 weeks for a weekend. Usually on those weekends, I'd break out of my usual viewing habits when it came to movies on television, with movies like The Great Escape and Ride Lonesome in his modest VHS collection. By the way, I have to say, this is me, not Andrew. Ride Lonesome is an amazing Bud Boddicker film. Yeah. And I love that he just casually throws that away. Great Escape, of course, is a classic. I expect that to be. But Ride Lonesome, I mean, it's so good.
Not to be confused with Walk Macho.
That's
and
right.
You know who I think
Gary
is
Lockwood
in Ride
story.
Lonesome? I think, what's her name from Mud's Women is in it, if I recall. She's in one of the
right.
Bud Boddicker films. I think she's in Ride Lonesome, the one who plays Eve.
Right.
So that's another reason to watch Ride Lonesome. But it's also, I think it's the first Boddicker film that's in scope, and it's really good. And obviously, I just love all those Bud Boddicker westerns. Anyway, okay, let me get back to Andrew already in progress. It put me in the mood for something other than just flipping between cartoons. So really, it was just great timing that I flipped the channel to a weary bald guy yelling at a pale dude with bumps on his head about 4 lights. It was obviously my first time watching any Trek, but it was also my dad's, and we were both hooked. I could go on to say that I love those first 3 series for instilling a hope for the future and humanity in me, which is somewhat true, but I really love it because it became something my dad and I discovered together during those weekends, and it brought us closer. Thanks again, Treksperts, and everyone behind the scenes for the countless hours of entertainment, insight, and more importantly, Trekucation. I love you, Andrew. Best wishes, and LLAP, Andrew Reidner.
Well, that was a pretty great letter, other than the Trekucation.
We got a lot of them. I mean, I don't want to just start reading multiple letters every episode, but I'm trying to parse them out. But yeah, I thought that was really nice.
That is nice.
And the key to getting read earlier in the run is to use the word Trekucation, because then it goes to the top of the pile. Anyway, that's just a little clip. But I'm sitting on a bunch of really great letters. Anyway, look, you're not here to hear our yapping. You're here to hear about.
They are actually.
They are. Yeah, that's
really,
true.
That
actually,
is literally the reason.
That's what
like
everybody
the only
was saying
reason
about.
they're here.
They're saying the cage where no one becomes. Thank God, no stinking panels, no thing. It's just you guys, John. No guests. It's just you guys being insightful and entertaining. Which is good. You get bored of us quickly, though. I'm glad that, we did it for 2 episodes, but now we have a guest again. So there. Anyway, we're going to be back after these brief commercial messages, and then we're going to be joined by the talented Bunny Tails, a.k.a. April, to talk about her reaction videos and her reaction to Star Trek, and boldly going where no reaction videos have gone before. So stay tuned. Now we're joined by Bunny Tails, a.k.a. April, who has a very popular YouTube show in which she reacts to Star Trek. Those of you who
among
us
other
last
things.
week well, among other things, but for the sake of this show, we're going to talk about Star Trek. And if it happens to, work its way into other areas, that's fine. But last week we had the Alex and Josh from Target Audience on, and I think one of the joys for me has been seeing, a younger audience embracing Star Trek, because we hear a lot of press releases and people at interviews talking about, we want to bring in and attract a younger audience to Star Trek. And sometimes what people do to do that is they change what makes Star Trek so unique and so special. And it's great that so many people now are discovering the original Star Trek and Next Generation, a lot of these shows, on their own, and finding something to love without any kind of crazy changes being made to it, just like and understanding the context of the time it's made. So I want to ask you, Miss Bunny or April, tell us about. You have a very popular YouTube reaction channel, and you decided to jump into the world of Star Trek. What was the impetus for you to embrace Star Trek and go down this, I would say, rabbit hole? That's a little Shirley reference, but to go down this, or Bunny reference. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, what it was about Star Trek that appealed to you, and why you decided to explore this?
Well, aside from being somewhat familiar with Star Trek from my childhood, because as I've mentioned before in other places, like on my channel, my dad was a fan, so I remember when I was very young, he would watch The Next Generation. And so I had like kind of a little bit of familiarity with it, kind of like I remembered some of the characters, but I didn't remember specifics. I did kind of remember First Contact, the movie. So that's the main thing that I draw from. But even then, I just remember like certain parts of that movie that stood out to me. And I started with gaming. I made a Patreon, and someone suggested to me that I should try doing reactions. And we started doing movie nights with my patrons. The first movie night that we did was voted for. Everybody could just pick a movie, any movie. And one person picked Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And two other people said, hey, yeah, okay, I'll vote for that too. And with 3 votes out of like 10 people, maybe, like super small, back those, it's still small, but much smaller then. We watched Star Trek 2, and I really enjoyed it. I watched Space Seed first.
Okay.
Just as like a homework, just to kind of get an idea of who Khan is. Was
watching an original Star Trek episode at that point? Because you watched Next Gen with your dad, and now you're about to watch an original Star Trek movie. So you decided to do the homework and sort of figure out like, hey, who is this Khan guy who is on?
Right. And just the characters, some of the other characters, because really you can't live on this planet without hearing about Kirk and Spock. But I didn't really know anything, so I got a little bit of an idea, and then we watched Wrath of Khan, and I wanted to know more. I was like, well, I got to start from the beginning now. I need to know more about how this friendship between Kirk and Spock formed and all the other people, and I was just really intrigued by everything about it.
What was it about Space Seed that spoke to you? I mean, obviously, Ricardo Montalban is an incredibly charismatic character, and it's such a unique character. At the same time, the character of Marla McGivers doesn't have a tremendous amount of agency, but then she does, and obviously it's a great performance, and there's so many memorable scenes. The scene where they're having dinner and warfare concealed. What was it about Space Seed that you sort of embraced and wanted you wanted to watch more after seeing it?
Well, yes, Ricardo Montalban had a big part in that, because his performance of his character, Khan Noonien Singh, was just amazing. And he was such a dark character, but the Kirk and Spock and Bones were, well, Kirk and Bones and Scotty were talking about how they were really impressed by him, even though they didn't really agree with his ways because of his charisma. And he kind of pulled them in, and he also pulled me in, and I'm sure everybody else who has ever seen that episode.
Now, I know it's a while ago, but when you saw Star Trek II after watching Space Seed, did you find it tonally different from Space Seed? Did you feel like there was a natural progression? Like, what was your reaction to watching Wrath of Khan after having just watched Space Seed?
That's not really something that I've ever really thought about, because Space Seed was so much before Wrath of Khan, so obviously the characters were a lot older. A lot of things had happened that I wasn't aware of between these characters.
Yeah, and then you watch Wrath of Khan, and it was at that point you decided to go back and start doing reaction videos, starting with TOS?
Yep, after Wrath of Khan, I said I need to know more. Kirk's ending speech after Spock's death, and I wanted to obviously know what happens next, but I wanted to go back and get the full picture, so I could really be invested. I was already becoming invested in the characters and in the story, but I wanted to be fully in it before I watched Search for Spock.
I can't remember. I've watched all of your reaction videos, but I can't remember if you did
Somebody
them
has
in.
a lot of time on his hands.
Wait, are you saying you didn't watch them?
I am. I'm sorry. I will now. Now that I'm so fascinated.
Now you have homework.
That's right.
Go watch Space Seed.
Did you watch the episodes in production order or broadcast order?
I kind of messed up a little bit. I'm trying to remember.
It's not a wrong answer.
For the most part, I did it in production order, but I kind of messed up a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Just because I'm wondering if you watched the few episodes before the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, with Gary Mitchell, and how that read to you, because it is a very different tone than the rest of the show, being that second pilot with very relatively young Kirk and young Spock, not quite developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, because I don't remember when I saw those and how I differentiated them during the time that I was growing up and watching them. And I'm trying to remember how your reaction to Where No Man Has Gone Before was, if it felt so different to you.
The second pilot with Gary Lockwood, I got to tell you, April, what's so interesting, and all kidding aside, Darren has been such a fan of yours for a long time, and just saying how much he's enjoyed these reaction videos and how much insight you've brought to them, and he's been a big advocate for your show. And one of the things that we talk about a lot on our show is the idea of, wouldn't it be amazing to go back and watch these shows for the first time? Obviously something we can't do. So to see it through the eyes of other people who are experiencing these shows for the first time is really something remarkable.
It's really enjoyable.
So I think, early Star Trek, that first season before Space Seed, as Darren is alluding to, is very different. And there are a lot of reasons, which we won't go over, why it starts to change. The arrival of Gene Kuhn, who is another producer and writer, and what he brought to the table. But those first 10 to 13 episodes, Kirk is very much a military guy. The evolution of Spock starts to evolve. Obviously, the pilot is the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before. There are different uniforms. There's a different sets. But what did you get a sense that Star Trek was evolving as you watched it, or did it feel all this of a piece? And did your opinions start to change? Did you start to embrace it more or less?
Well, after Wrath of Khan, the next 3 episodes that I watched were The Cage, and then The Man Trap, and then Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Okay.
So those 3 episodes are all very different, I would say, especially The Cage.
Right.
And then going into, I loved The Cage. I absolutely loved it. It's still one of my favorite episodes, as well as the follow-up, the Menagerie, 1 and 2. And then The Man Trap is very different from that, because it's kind of the monster of the week, as a lot of people called it. And I didn't dislike it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did The Cage.
Because it's a lot more formulaic. It's a lot more sort of regular, TV sci-fi.
Well, Gene Roddenberry used to talk a lot about how The Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before were two of his favorite episodes. Ironically, the two first episodes he ever created, and the Menagerie, of course. It's interesting to see you didn't respond as much to the Man Trap because, of course, that was the network's pick to be the premiere. It wasn't, filmed until later because it had the monster, because it had all this stuff. And it's funny because I don't think there's anybody on this podcast who would say the Man Trap is in their top 20 or 30 episodes.
No.
Yeah.
And where no man has gone before was really excellent too. That, not that I was falling out of it, but because I was still very intrigued of what all the episodes are going to be. Where no man has gone before pulled me back in if I were to leave. It was really good as well.
Capturing your imagination, was it the characters, was it the world, the sets, the stories, all the above? Like what obviously, as somebody who's watching TV and reacting to a lot of very sophisticated kind of video game worlds, like what was it about the rawness and the creativity of Star Trek that spoke to you, that you embraced it and were excited to continue watching it?
The sets were definitely one of the things that really I noticed early on, because the cage, they spent a lot of money on that from what I hear, and you can tell. It looks amazing. The planet, the castle kind of part, and all the different places that they go to, that field with the horse. So that was one. The beautiful ladies, I'm big on the beautiful ladies.
Yeah.
But mostly just, it's something that really makes you think. And I like that. The moral dilemmas, the things like that.
It's so interesting, too, to watch something like The Cage now because, of course, a lot has been made of the allegory and the metaphor of Star Trek speaking to the 60s with Vietnam and a lot of the things that were going on, race relations. But something like The Cage even feels more relevant today, where these Telosians who have lost the ability to do anything physical because they've completely been consumed by the power of the mind. You look at it and you look at people who are always on their phones and are always, not going outside. And I forget what they describe, Gen Z zombies where, don't want to get out of bed. And so it's so interesting to see how a show from the 60s, the mid 60s, can still have something to offer more so than ever, today. And that seems to be something you're picking up on.
Yes. And like the AI, like people relying on AI a lot as well.
Yeah.
Well, a great example of that is The Ultimate Computer, which is the episode with the M5 where Kirk becomes replaced by a computer that's going to not only take his job, and then it turns out that maybe AI isn't so reliable after all.
It starts
hallucinating and blowing up other starships. Yeah. So, I mean, that episode feels even more relevant today than, at the time where computers were the size of a giant room as opposed to something you could hold in the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do it again, if you could go back and start watching Star Trek again and do your reaction videos in a different order, would you have started the same way, or would you pick a different route?
I would not have done it that way. I wouldn't have started with right in the middle of the second movie. I would have wanted to start with season 1 of the original series, and in production order properly.
So you would have started with The Cage?
I would have started with The Cage. Mm-hmm. And I would have been just as pulled in as I was with Wrath of Khan, because, like I said, I love The Cage so much.
It's so great, and it's so obviously the brilliance of the way that it's weaved in to create the Menagerie is genius, to take the unaired pilot and turn it into 2 episodes. Let me ask you this, because Star Trek particularly the cage, is, there's a little bit of obviously sexism in that episode. The whole fact that the yeoman is worried about, is she going to become Eve? And Pike makes a comment about, oh, it's hard having a woman on the bridge. Is that something? How do you filter that? Like, does it bother you? Do you just chalk it up to the time? I mean, I'm just curious because, obviously when we were watching this, discovering Star Trek in the 70s, it's not something you really thought about. And I know that it's hard for certain people to accept that times were different and that our views on these things have evolved, and then they can't get past it. So I'm just clearly you have, but I'm just curious what your feeling, particularly as a woman, was to some of that.
I just knew that there were different times, and that Star Trek was, well, my comment section has helped me to understand very well that oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. I knew this was going to happen.
Your train of thought can derail. It can get back on track. It's okay. Or back on
It's
track.
a train.
Star Trek. That was Robert Butler's, what he kept telling Gene Roddenberry to call the show, Star Trek, which was ridiculous. But he thought it was, to his dying day, he thought that's what it should have been called.
It would have been a hit if he'd done that.
Oh my God, it's so funny. I love Bob Butler, but man, that was just, he had
Bob Butler, who directed The Cage.
Okay. Well, they helped me to understand that Star Trek was one of the forerunners of bringing these issues out, like that people weren't really doing back then.
Right.
And there were a lot of issues with having a first officer as a woman and things like that. And I won't say that I was never bothered. Actually, when I watched Space Seed, I was a little bit irked at the way that they portrayed Marla McIvers. A little bit, like,
right.
I didn't really have an issue with it, but I couldn't relate to her reaction to Khan, and I was just like, why would she, go with this guy and stuff like that? Like, it's like I get it, but I don't. Like, yes,
right.
he's
not just a bad boy; he's the worst boy.
He's pretty bad. Yeah.
Head canon has to work extra hard to say, okay, she's a historian, and this is the past that's suddenly come to life, and she's so obsessed with the past. Your head is spinning to try and justify it, and it does. And obviously, she's great. Madeline Rue is great in it. But yes, I totally could see that being, challenging. But it's just, we accept these things because the episodes are great. And what people don't realize is that Star Trek, it was so ahead of its time in dealing with these things. People say, oh, the miniskirts are sexy. Well, miniskirts were just taking off at that time. It was hugely empowering, and women were very proud to wear miniskirts. And Nichelle and a lot of the cast wanted to wear miniskirts. It wasn't a sexist thing. So it's when people don't try to understand the context that it's very frustrating. And it's so great to see, you just embrace all this stuff. So as you went on your journey the first season, kind of what were some of the highlights for you, like that, and the things that maybe surprised you the most about the show?
Oh gosh, highlights. Where do I even start? With the first season, we're learning about the characters, we're learning about the world, and the whole galaxy and all these different alien races. Kirk, Spock, and Bones, I just absolutely love them and their relationship. Bones is my favorite character by far. He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I love it when he gets passionate. He has the funny one-liners, and they're all great. And I guess I thought one of the things that I realized early was that Star Trek is very different from Star Wars for a lot of different reasons. And I guess I thought maybe Star Trek was going to be Star Wars, but a little nerdier. But they're just kind of not even in the same realm almost. Star Wars is very good versus evil, and not to reduce it, because I know that, not to be reductive of it, because I grew up with the original trilogy and it's one of my favorite things ever. But Star Trek aims to do something very different, and it's more about us as people against ourselves, and trying to better ourselves and look at the world in a different way and seek to understand people that are different from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
it's so interesting.
exactly
to talk
right.
about that, because this idea that there's some kind of rivalry between Star Trek and Star Wars. If you look, I mean, obviously, George Lucas was a fan of Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry was a fan of Star Wars. You know, why everything has to be pitted against each other in the arena, because, of course, yeah, Star Wars is a very different show and has very different movies. That's something to offer, which is, it's mostly, until Andor, about just entertainment. Then obviously Andor had a lot more to say on its mind. Star Trek always had something on its mind to say. And so they're very different, but they're both wonderful in their own way. What was the reaction? What surprised you about the reaction as your channel became more and more popular, and you found there were all these people out there who cared so much about Star Trek and that were passionate about these shows, and the feedback you were starting to get?
My reaction to that.
Your reaction to your reactions.
There are a lot of wonderful and passionate people, and I was really happy to be able to connect with those people and to share my viewpoint. A lot of people look forward to hearing what I have to say, and they can relate. And a lot of times they say that they have been able to think about the episodes in a whole new light, because of what I get out of the episode was completely different from what they got out of it the first time they saw it, or the second or the third. And yeah, it's just been really wonderful experience, and a lot of people are just very happy, and that makes me very happy.
Did you have some instances where people were spoiling things for you? Because I noticed in your TNG reactions, you have a specific card at the beginning saying, please, no spoilers. Don't tell me about other episodes. Don't tell me about what's going to happen. Did a lot of that happen when you were watching original series?
And as an addendum to that, where are you now so we don't spoil it?
Yeah, exactly.
I am in season 2 of The Next Generation, and I believe the last one I watched was episode 6. So early season 2 is where I'm at right now.
How are you feeling about it? Like when you started watching Next Generation, comparing that to the original series and frankly to Star Trek 2, like was there a culture shock? Was it like, how does it feel different to you? And what are the things that you appreciate most about it? And what are you struggling with The Next Generation?
It's definitely difficult because it is very different. One of the things that I noticed immediately was that it felt kind of very, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but just the look of the Enterprise, and maybe even with the crew and their interactions as well, it's kind of sterile, it's kind of cold, it's not as warm and homely and family. And I know that this, it evolves a lot, and people are very adamant about letting me know that it'll get better. And they're very harsh on season 1 of The Next Generation. But right now, even still in season 2, I'm finding that I'm not, I don't want to sound like I don't like it. I love every episode is so exciting to watch, but I'm not there yet like I was with TOS.
You're
yet.
experiencing exactly what we did when the show first came on. That's
Except we had to do
exactly
it
what happened.
1 week
You
at a
want to
time.
like it so badly.
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard to like, but eventually your faith is rewarded,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And, but even in that, I remember years ago, we did an episode called it was basically why season 1 isn't as bad as you remember or something like that. There are episodes that stand out. I wonder if you recall, maybe some of the episodes that stood out for you in your dive into Next Gen. Or, you know, for us, I think it was the Binars 1001 and the Big Goodbye, which is the first Dixon Hill episode.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the episodes maybe that you're like, oh, I see potential here. This you know, this grabbed me in a way that it hasn't.
And why do you want to see more Minuet?
I would have to go back and look through like the episode list to see like which episode was the first one that really maybe grabbed my attention. But later on in the season, one of my probably my favorite season 1 episode, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really like Coming of Age. I am a Wesley fan, and if anybody wants to turn this video off, I know that you know, he has you either love him or hate him, and I really enjoy Wesley. I enjoyed Coming of Age, and also I guess now that I think about it, my other favorite episode right now would be Conspiracy, which is kind of a follow-up to that episode. And I love how those two are connected.
But I was going to ask you about that. What's so interesting is the first time where you really see the very early seeds of serialization, because Coming of Age sets up what happens later in Conspiracy, and it pays off, and it makes Coming of Age better because you're first introduced to those characters, and there's something going on at Starfleet, and it kind of has this moody kind of feeling that something is amiss, and then obviously that pays off in Conspiracy with the parasites.
Yeah, in the original series, every episode kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow, and with Coming of Age, it's like, oh well, what's going on? You know, something is going on, and we don't know the answer, and when are we going to find out?
It's the first time threads were picked up from previous episodes and meshed together.
Yes and no, and it's funny because once again we skipped over, and I think an important show in the history of Star Trek, and we do it. Everyone seems to do it, but I know that you gave it a little love as well, which is the animated series. What was your impression of and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was Daren's gateway to Star Trek. You know, the way you discovered, you know, was through sort of Khan. His gateway was the animated series, watching it on Saturday mornings. So what was your feeling about the anime? Because so many of those were sequels to episodes, you know, whether it be Harry Mudd and Mudd's Passion, or a sequel to Shore Leave of all things, and Once Upon a Planet, or obviously Yesteryear, which is sort of a sequel to City on the Edge of Forever. So what was kind of your reaction to the animated series? Because a lot of people can't get past the animation, but there's a lot of great stuff to, if you know, are willing to keep an open mind. I'm sort of curious how you felt about it.
I really, really enjoyed the animated series, and a lot of people told me to skip it. And a lot of people said, oh, I'm not going to watch this with you. I'll come back when you do the movies or whatever. And a couple people, I introduced them, Star Trek fans that have been fans of Star Trek for many years, I introduced them to the animated series. They said, well, I tried watching one of your videos, and this is actually good. Like it's I'm gonna watch all of them. And it's really fun that you see characters returning and plot lines continuing a little bit, sequels, and they can go a lot of places that they couldn't do or go to in the original series because of limitations. They could, go underwater and do all this, give Kirk and Spock webbed hands and webbed feet, and anything that they could dream of, they could turn it into an episode there. And they went to some really fun and crazy places.
I mean, it truly is the fourth season of the show, because the continuation of several of the writers, Dorothy Fontana as the head writer on it. It's really important to let people know that this is the spiritual successor to the original series, and I've always loved it too, and I'm glad that you were able to enjoy it.
So if anybody out there hasn't watched it, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because it is a show that's so often overlooked, or because of the animation and sort of the use of the same.
It's perceived as a kids show.
Again. But the reality is, you look, Larry Niven, all these great sci-fi writers, all these people who worked on the original show, who worked on it. But I'm kind of over it this week, because I supported Lucas Kendall's Kickstarter, and I got this wonderful CD, the Filmation music of Ray Ellis, and I've been listening to all week, and now I can't get that stupid music out of my head.
I love that. And people were asking me, aren't you tired of listening to this song? But every time that I'm just like, it's my song, let's go.
That's hysterical.
That's great. You were born in the year that Star Trek 4 came out. And I think that is, yes, we're all feeling very old, but I think it's great that you have picked up with no coaching the things that we love about Star Trek as well. I was going to say Star Trek 2, but you know what I mean.
Star Trek.
TOO as opposed to TW.
Star Trek The Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
But particularly, I was impressed with your reaction to Star Trek the Motion Picture, something that is very dear to my heart, and have been happy to have participated in its rebirth over the years. And I just want to know how that felt to you, seeing what only happened 10 years after the original show, but it feels like ages passed. Seeing Captain Kirk back on the Enterprise and all of that. How was that experience for you?
That's fascinating, Darren, to ask that, because, of course, this is a movie that often gets lambasted by people as being slow, and it's a movie that we all love for various different reasons. And yes, we're not, we do want our listeners to go and watch your reactions and be surprised, but just this once, tell us what you thought of Star Trek the Motion Picture, because I'm hanging on your every word with this.
I really, really enjoyed that movie a lot. It looks beautiful, and one of the reasons that I watched the animated series, or that I wanted to take my time with the animated series, and then I watched Star Trek Continues before going into the movies, and a lot of people were saying that they wanted me to just hurry up and get to the good stuff. First of all, the animated series and Continues were both really good, and I'm glad I watched them. But because I watched those, there was a kind of a pretty large break between when I watched the last original series episode and the Star Trek Motion Picture. So it was really great to see all the characters again, and the visual effects were just amazing, and the story was really great too. I did have some issues with some of the pacing a little bit, but it didn't detract from my overall enjoyment. It felt like another episode of TOS. That movie in particularly really feels like just a longer episode of the original series, the way that just like kind of what they explore in that one.
Yeah.
We think sometimes people react negatively because it's the family fractured. When you come back, Kirk's miserable. Spock is gone. McCoy has given up on Starfleet. Everyone's scattered to the four winds. And as you mentioned earlier, one of the things that's so appealing about Star Trek is how much they're a family and how much they love each other. And what Star Trek the Motion Picture does is bring them all back together, which is one of the things that's so wonderful about that film. But people really seem to object to that they're not the characters I knew in the TV series as they're flying you here.
Because it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's news to me. I didn't feel that. I just love to see them get back together, and it was fun to have them all come in at different times. Spock's doing his thing, and the Bones, he's got the beard is that movie, right? He comes in with the beard, and he's like,
yeah. He's got
begrudgingly,
like
begrudgingly, comes back on board, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And then they all kind of get back into their stride, and just like no time has passed.
Yeah,
so when
exactly.
you kind of embraced the watching the movies at that point, so motion picture you really liked. We talked a little bit about Khan. What was your feeling about the rest of the movie series? Did it live up to your love of the original series TV show? Were there, kind of what was your reaction? And was it sort of simpatico with your listeners, or did you find that you had a very different impression of 3, 4, 5, and 6?
Well, certain episodes and movies will oftentimes have like a majority of people say like it's a good one, it's a bad one, but there's always going to be differing opinions. And one person's least favorite episode that is complete trash to them and shouldn't even exist is someone else's all-time favorite episode. So a lot of people were warning me, which I don't like, about Star Trek 5. And well, gosh, there's 4 more movies to talk about, but I guess we'll start with 5 because that was the one that a lot of people were saying was just really bad. And I liked it decently, but it was my least favorite of them. The tone felt a little bit strange to me in that one, with the humor that they were trying to do. It didn't really land for me. It felt kind of slapstick and just kind of silly. I hated the hover boots. First time watching, I hated those hover boots. But one of the things that happens when you watch something a second time, so when I edit my videos to post on YouTube and try to get through the copyright hell, you kind of rewatch it. You watch it a second time and you have a little bit of a different opinion sometimes. And I think that's where a lot of the appreciation comes in, is the second viewing. And, I kind of like those boots now. They're kind of fun.
It's funny. All 3 of us have a special love for Star Trek V. We know it's not as good, but its intentions are better than the others. If you understand what I mean. We had the opportunity to talk with William Shatner on stage during a screening of Star Trek V, and we helped him do a live commentary to it. And we talked about all the problems that he had to face during production, all the things that he had to compromise on, and we tried to let him know that we appreciated what he was trying to do, whether or not he had actually succeeded. But it was pretty amazing, because I think we will all agree that the humor in it is really uneven. And some of the set pieces they don't quite work, but the core of the characters are there, and that specifically that one scene where Sybok is trying to take away Spock and McCoy's pain is really great. and it's
Yes.
full of wonderful moments like that, surrounded by things that don't quite work.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight, and Kirk's "I need my pain."
Yeah,
And the campfire scenes, of course, just
yeah,
beautiful, really good. And what does God need with a starship?
that's right.
Can't beat that.
I think overall my favorite is the Journey Home, Star Trek 4,
Right.
or is it
The
Journey
one
or
with the
Voyage?
whales.
Voyage.
Voyage.
I always get it mixed up. The
That's all
Voyage
right.
Home.
Yeah.
Star Trek 4.
It's that one is very different as well. Like it's kind of, there's nothing else in the original series quite like that. They really go in with the adventure, the humor, the just them being out of place, and it's so fun. That I love that one. I love whales. That helps. And yeah, that all the movies are really special in their own way. All 6 of them.
Yeah,
Well, it's
they're
so
all interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because the thing that you embraced, I think we all embraced about the TV show, is that it can be anything. One week it's a comedy like Trouble with Tribbles or Piece of the Action. Another week, it's a monster show like Man Trap. Another episode, it's a high concept sci-fi thing like Mirror Mirror, or it's a war movie, a submarine movie like Balance of Terror. And what is interesting, and this I don't think was originally intended, but it turned out that way. The movies are like that in that they're all so different. Star Trek the Motion Picture is like 2001. It's like the awe of the universe. And Star Trek 2 is a submarine war movie. And Star Trek 3, I don't know what that mess is. Star Trek 4 is a comedy, and, it's just like Star Trek 6 is, a metaphor for the fall of the Berlin Wall. I mean, it's just like, it's so much like the TV series in that sense. And, that's, and that, I think that's what makes it special, even when they're not perfect. None of them are perfect, but that's why they're so enjoyable nonetheless.
That's definitely one of the things that had me excited every week when I started up a new episode. I had no idea what I was in for, what it was going to be, and that was always really exciting to find out.
Well, let me ask you, like, your professional opinion. Because I need your advice on something as somebody who recently came to Star Trek in the way that you've come to it. So I recently had a tragedy in my life. I discovered that my 10-year-olds were watching Doctor Who, and they hadn't started watching Star Trek yet because I refuse to be the geek dad who says love the stuff that I love. Right?
No. You gotta be the geek. What are you doing?
That was my insight. It's time to be that dad.
Yes.
And my question to you is, because you're so much closer to the problem, how would you suggest that I introduce my 10-year-old boys to Star Trek? Where would you start them? What would you show them first, or how would you approach it?
Well, before you answer that, in Star Wars, there's the famous machete order, all these shows. So now we're going to have the bunny tails order for watching Star Trek. So
but specifically for kids,
specifically for 10-year-old boys. Oh, gosh. Well, it's been a long time since I've been one of those.
Right.
I mean, gosh. You got me with a really tough question here.
Just your first impulse.
Your first impression, right?
Uh-huh.
What's accessible and feels like Star Trek, and kind of expresses the things that you love about it.
Well, it's got to be probably one of the original series episodes. I wouldn't start with a movie. I don't know why. I just wouldn't. Because the movies kind of, they assume that you kind of know the characters.
Yeah.
So any of the original series episodes would suffice. Well, I mean, not as far as you can jump in at any time.
Right.
I wouldn't suggest them to watch the Empath or something, which is
so funny. I was about to say that.
one of my personal favorites, although a lot of people seem to really dislike that one for some reason.
Yeah.
So the answer is Conscience of the King.
Right.
No. Any of them that have just like a fun romp, like Mirror Mirror, or well, that maybe not that one, because well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Yeah.
Because if you're not starting from the beginning, then it might not be appropriate, honestly.
Right,
I think you got to start them from the beginning.
But by the same token, I mean, my first Star Trek memory, I think vaguely, is like something in the range of 4 years old and watching Dagger of the Mind, and it stuck with me. But
well, probably traumatized. That one.
Exactly, I had to revisit my trauma again and again.
I still think you should start with Corp Might Maneuver, but
That's actually not a bad idea.
I think you should. It's
Do it.
early enough in the run that the show's evolving, but it kind of is the epitome of everything that Star Trek is in one episode, and it has really a cool ship, and it has Baylock. They're gonna love the little kid who's really a 900-year-old spaceship captain.
And I can tell them, I hope you relish it as much as I.
And then you give him some Tranya.
Yeah.
Get him drunk. No.
Or maybe Shore Leave.
Shore Leave.
That's not a bad
That's
idea.
not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
You got the
My son at Shore Leave.
White Rabbit and fun. Like there's a lot of action in that one. There's
a samurai.
Beasts, the samurai, and
there's a 6-foot leprechaun in a silver lame shirt.
Good old
so
Finnegan.
Fun.
Yeah.
And that was an episode I just adored as a kid. I still love it, but I really, as a kid, and I think I started Isaac with that back in the day because we'd gone for Father's Day to Vasquez Rocks, so I showed him that in Arena, I think. And then it didn't take. It wasn't until years later that he started watching it in order and then fell in love with Star Trek. But no, that's interesting. That's good advice. That's good advice,
great advice,
Bunny
actually.
Tails.
Let me know how it goes.
I will.
Okay, so question for you as we start to sadly wrap up, but now I have all these shows I have to watch with you. So the question is, you're in the middle of the second season of Next Generation. What are your expectations going forward? There are all these shows. It's going to be a long time before you get through everything. What are your expectations of Next Gen? What do you think the other shows that you're really going to love are? Just a prediction. I'd love to come back to, it's like Space Seed. I'd love to visit this place again one day and see how close your predictions were. So let's predict what you kind of think, and then maybe in a year or two we'll come back and you'll tell us if you were right.
Oh, well, a lot of my expectations are probably colored by what people tell me.
Right.
They tell me that the characters are going to evolve, that the series is going to get into its stride in season 3. And as far as other shows, I don't really know. I try not to know as much as I can about anything upcoming. I know that Deep Space Nine is very popular, so that's one that I don't know anything about it.
Stay pure.
That's good.
TNG,
Keep it that way. Yeah.
I had a little bit of an idea of the characters and stuff, but this one, like Deep Space Nine, I have no idea. So I'm really excited to get to it, but I'm also not in a rush. I'm not trying to hurry up and get through Star Trek. So just taking my time. And
you don't want to get to the point where you're kind of like, it's too much and it's just like you're sick of it. It's like, enjoy the ride, but you only get to watch it for the first time once.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And then what do you think? I was going to ask you what you thought of Starfleet Academy, but I can't ask you that because that's 4 years away for you.
Yeah.
Probably longer than that.
To attack.
That's true. Well, that's okay. And what do you think? What are your expectations of the Next Generation movies? You think you're going to like those? You think they're going to be comparable to the TOS movies? Like what?
You mentioned that you think you've seen First Contact.
I have seen First Contact. That's the one thing that I kind of remember like specifics about.
Right.
But mostly with the Picard and Data and the Borg lady, and I just have this very
The Borg lady, I like that.
the
I
Borg.
like to see the credit. Alice Krieger, it's the Borg lady. That's good.
I remember Data's struggle with wanting to be a human, and we're seeing that, or to be more human-like.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that in TNG already quite a bit. But I kind of wish I hadn't seen it back then. But she gives, if my memory is correct, she gives him skin.
Yeah.
And then he can actually feel sensations for the first time with that skin on his arm, I believe. And the scene that I remember the most, for some reason, is her blowing on his skin.
Yeah, his skin patch.
The hairs stand up, and he's just like, wow.
Yeah.
But then he decides, no, like, I'm not going to join you and all that. But for some reason, that really stood out to me in my memory. And I know there's like some other plot going on the planet. I don't remember anything about that.
Good.
I guess I wasn't interested in it at the time.
Right.
No, that's good, because it's a fun movie, and it's a good movie, and you'll enjoy it. So that's great. And then there are more Next Generation movies after that.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have expectations. I hope I like them, and I'm sure I will. And I'm just, when I get to them, I'll get to them.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I'm wondering when. I don't think TNG will ever be like give me what TOS gave me, like the feelings, and it's gonna be different. But I'm waiting for like what about TNG is gonna be special to me, and when is that gonna really, like, when am I gonna feel that? Because I'm enjoying it, but I'm not feeling like
you like it as a friend.
I'm not quite there yet.
Right. Yeah.
Welcome to our 1988.
Yeah, I'm still yet to discover
exactly.
What TNG can really give. So
when you were 1 year old, we were watching it, having the exact same response.
Yeah.
The important thing is, don't worry about liking or not liking something just because someone told you to. Go with your own feelings are worthwhile, and that's why I watch your podcast, your show. That's why I enjoy your reactions, because you are honest with yourself, and that is
I will
important.
defend Way to Eden to my dying breath.
Really?
Good.
Now, give us the headline on that. Why?
Charles Napier, amazing. His whole thing with Spock, they're kind of like friendship, or seeking to understand each other.
Their connection.
And I'm really big on musicals. I love the songs.
We love the songs. Steppin' in Eden, yay, brother.
We reach.
So,
Don't
be a Herbert. Okay, last question before we let you go. Because there are two unofficial Star Trek movies. I want to know where they fit into your watch. One is Galaxy Quest, and another is Free Enterprise. When are you going to get to those movies?
Well, you can watch my Galaxy Quest reaction after this recording. I watched it a while back. I was still probably in, I don't even know, probably not to season 3 yet.
Right.
In Star Trek TOS. So watch that. And Free Enterprise, I don't know if I've
She
heard
doesn't
of it.
know it, Mark.
She doesn't know it. God, that's heartbreaking.
It's probably been recommended to me, but
I'm sure it has.
Explain it to her, Mark. Explain it to her.
So Free Enterprise is a movie that me and Rob Burnett made back in 1999 with William Shatner and Eric McCormick, and it's about these two fans who meet their idol Bill Shatner and find out he's more screwed up than they are. And it came out in theaters in '99, and it's a big it's all about Star Trek fans and genre fans and stuff like that. And so it sounds like it may be up your alley, but who knows?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and find out.
What's it called again?
Free Enterprise.
Free Enterprise. Okay. It's coming someday.
And Darren has a small role in it, and he is delightful.
I have one scene, a cameo, but you'll have to see for yourself.
Okay. I will give it a watch. Give it a watch.
Bunny Tales, tell us where they can watch your reaction videos again. So after hearing you extol the virtues of this franchise we all love, I know people are going to want to rush to YouTube to watch you. So how do they do that?
youtube.com/bunnytailsreacts.
Bunny Tales Reacts. Fantastic. You have a Patreon. So what kind of extra content do they get when they sign up for your Patreon?
I have the full versions up there, so you can see the whole thing. We do movie nights every month. So we just watched, like, for instance, Planet of the Apes, the original, 1968.
68.
Fine choice, yes.
We just watched that one. It was amazing. So they can vote. I have like a running tally. So every month you get to vote for a movie. And
had you not seen Planet of the Apes before? Was this your first time seeing? Wow. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
God, you didn't know the ending either, right?
No, I didn't know the ending.
Oh my God.
Awesome. That's great.
That's great. That's cooler than watching Star Trek for the first time.
Yeah.
That ending is... Oh, man. Wow. Lucky you. That's great. Okay, well, fantastic. Well, April, it was so nice having you join us. We hope everybody will check out April and her reaction show, Bunny Tail Reacts, on YouTube. A new episode's dropped. She's in the middle, as we know, of the second season of Next Gen. But you can go back and watch her reactions to TOS, the TOS movies, the animated series. And Darren gives it a big thumbs up. So check it out. And thank you so much for joining us. And we hope... to have you back on the show again when you're a little further down the road, easing on down the road, and have more to tell us about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure thing. I will
be
happy to come back.
Thank you.
Great.
Hey, we're back.
We are back.
And that was Bunny Tales.
I didn't get a chance to mention to her that I really liked the moment she was watching Amok Time, and she realized that the Lirpa is a rearrangement of the letters of her name. It's her name backwards.
Oh,
April.
what a shame you didn't get to mention that when we were on the air.
Yeah.
And also that there was a captain of the Enterprise who was, had her name. And he was the Lirpa backwards. But what is on Woon backwards? That's my question.
It's Nuna.
Nuna. Nuna. It's prophetic. It's like Nuna. No.
So,
I got nothing.
I saw Marty Supreme yesterday.
Did you?
I liked it.
That's the new thing at Taco Bell, right?
Yeah, I just get the Marty regular.
I liked it a lot.
I like it with the sour cream and the chives.
And you know who's in it and who's good at it? Abel Ferrara, who looks like 10 miles of bad road. I was such a fan of his back in the day. He did some really crazy movies.
Yeah,
Miss 45 and King of New York, and
yep.
I mean, he's a Wednesday on the 4:30 movie, just
waiting
walking Wednesday.
Yeah, he is.
And the
fact,
Body
Abel Ferrara
Snatchers
week is
remake.
not bad.
But yeah, anyway. But I really like Marty Supreme. But my favorite pick of the year is definitely still got to be One Battle After Another. What's your top movie of the year of 2025, Ashley?
I've given this a lot of thought, and I've got to say, hands down, it's Sinners. I feel like 25 years from now, people will still be talking about that.
Well, the Academy would agree with you, apparently. Yeah.
It's fucking great.
There's a lot I like about Sinners. I'm not going to open that can of worms again, but I liked it when it was from Dusk Till Dawn. I liked it more as Sinners. Yeah. Darren, what about you? What's your top pick for 2025?
I don't have a top pick. I think it was a horrible year for movies, but I liked Sinners.
Darren's still living in 1966, so he doesn't.
I wish.
He didn't have a pick for 2025. What was your favorite film in 1966, Darren?
Batman.
Yep, I figured. Okay, there you go. I think mine was Funeral in Berlin.
Wow,
Yeah,
you were a weird kid.
Yeah, what about you, Ashley?
It wasn't Batman.
Ah, yeah.
How dare you.
Ashley's very protective of his Batman. This is where we all don't quite
Diverge.
gel.
Yeah.
Like, because Darren and I love Adam West Batman 66. Ashley loves Batman 89, and
Right.
that's his. And he likes comic faithful Batman. I love it all.
Which Batman 89 is not.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
But that's okay.
But that's where you see the generation
It's
gap
idic.
between us.
It's idic.
Idic.
Infinite
Yeah.
diversity of idiotic combinations.
Gene Roddenberry was trying to sell me one of those little necklace.
he
That
was
said
trying to sell everybody
idiot
one.
idiot combinations. That's what I wanted, one of those. Okay.
I wanted Bill to wear one of them, but he refused, so I got Leonard to.
That is just so funny in Is There in Truth No Beauty, wearing that stupid idic
Yeah.
when Diana Muldaur is beaming off the ship.
Right. It's
They're
just
talking
pure
about the
marketing.
necklace, the medallion.
And
you
you can
take
also-
back
it's-
two Kadam for the Hebrew God whose arc this is, and then you should see what you could do with that medallion.
That's
Take
right.
it to
They
the
should
Well
have
of
just put like a
Souls.
Chiron with like a number that you could call to
Right.
order the fucking thing.
Oh my
It
goodness.
shows you right where the providers left the dilithium stash.
Oh
Okay,
my.
never mind. Stop it.
So that was a fun interview. That was a fun
It
interview.
was.
She's fun.
And
She's
you
great.
should check out her reaction videos. Darren's a big fan. I'm gonna definitely check her out at
Yep.
some point as well, and enjoy hearing her reaction, because I really enjoyed our conversation with her, as I did with the target audience boys last
Yeah.
week. Yeah, so it's good.
We have many
Anything
such
else?
target audiences.
Anything else you guys want to add before we get out of here?
I have
It's
nothing.
gonna be another long show.
It
Yeah,
is.
but that's good. People like long shows.
Do they?
That's right. They like it
Yeah.
long.
Oh, okay. I don't
Easy.
know. Maybe they like it long shows. I don't know. I think we go on too long.
Maybe.
But, you just don't have to listen. I guess one day I should look at the analytics and see what the drop
And these
is.
statements, of course, are making it even longer.
It's true.
No, I agree. I just like spending
Yeah.
time with you guys because next
Because
I
we
won't
don't
talk to you
interact
until
in
next
real
week.
life.
That's
No.
right. So
We
they
don't
say
see
they
each
love the
other enough.
camaraderie. It's like it's like the original. It's the TOS cast. It's like oh, they have such a great relationship on screen. They all hate each
It's
other.
like Khan and Kirk. We only see each other via view screens.
That's right.
Except for like if
That's
Khan
right.
and Kirk also saw each other at GalaxyCon 12 times a fucking year.
That's true. Well, we're
I'm
looking
sure if
forward
they
to
had
it.
had the
My
opportunity, they
friend.
would have.
That
be on a
Richmond
panel
show
together.
is I don't like to use Gen Z slang, but that Richmond one is a banger, man.
It is a
it's
banger.
great con. 4
It's-
days now. Great people.
It's definitely not mid.
And it's
No cap.
That was a funny thing they did a thing with on Weekend Update on SNL about retiring all this Gen Z slang.
Yeah, it is. Most of it sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to. We get to the point where we watch the cold open and then we watch the Weekend Update and then we turn it off. So that's enough for me. Have you watched the Chevy Chase documentary yet? I haven't watched it yet.
No.
Yeah,
But that's
I gotta
relevant
watch
to my
that.
interests.
I want to see if foul play comes up because I'm
Oh, it
ready to
will.
take the chance again.
Oh my God!
Ready to take the.
But I hear there is a heavenly dog.
Oh,
I don't think Heavenly Dog is in there. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Of course it is.
You know who made that documentary? Marina Zenovich. Marina Zenovich, I can't tell too much of the story, was someone that when we were doing Post on Free Enterprise was at the Post House that Rob befriended. They became very good friends
Befriended.
for a little while.
friended.
So, and she was
bit
very
of
talented. She was
Shelby.
working, I think, at the time on a Roman Polanski documentary, which is fantastic. She's a very talented documentary filmmaker. Yeah,
All right then.
and
All right,
Rob
then.
was someone with whom Rob could be friends.
Friends.
So,
Friends.
on that note, Jesus.
Easy.
Okay, I think it's time to go. So on that note, go to Linktree and you can find all our social channels. And if you want to potentially have a letter read on the show and you have a story to tell for the 60th anniversary, you can email us at trekspertsplus@gmail.com. Mention a Trekkication for 10% off. No, just send us your email, trekspertsplus@gmail.com. And also, if you want the correct Discord link, go to our Linktree and we'll take you there theoretically.
Yeah.
I like all these shows. They all are so worried. They got all this fancy marketing and all this stuff. We're just like, maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't.
Maybe
Who
use
knows?
our link.
It's positive. It could be
It's a
broken.
link.
It could work. Who knows?
You can click it.
Yeah, exactly. You click it good. They were sort of like the sci-fi band Devo. Okay, enough of
They
this
were,
shit.
but they were not men. They were Devo.
Well, at least they were never in a needle drop in a Star Trek.
That's true.
Not yet.
No.
The night is young.
I couldn't believe it. Was so funny. Someone had texted me and said, this is a couple of weeks ago, and they said, I really didn't like, and this is somebody who loves New Trek, but they were like, I really didn't like Starfleet Academy. And I said, oh, really? How come? I'm looking forward to it. And he said, there is a needle drop that will make you scream out loud. I said, no. I said, I'm
Is it
calm.
young folks?
And he was right. I was angry about the needle drop, but
He had no cause to be angry.
But we'll talk about Star. I think maybe for Starfleet Academy, maybe we do something like we did with our Strange New Worlds episode. Maybe we get Kay and Jeff Bond and maybe Zazzy, and we put together. We do a little Magnificent Seven. We put
The
together
usual
a
suspects.
bunch of people who can talk about why they love it. And that would be fun. And Darren can moderate that one.
No.
No, come on. I did the Strange New Worlds one. You do the Starfleet Academy one.
No.
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 You suck. This is why I don't talk to you all week.
That's right.
Anyway, okay. Thank you for
Alrighty.
joining us. We'll see you next Thursday, and keep on trekking ingloriously, of course.